The story opens with a man arriving at an illegal gold mine, pretending to look for a job. The workers are suspicious right away, since no one's been hiring. To convince them, the man shows a Facebook post about an open position. But it's all a lie. Hidden under his clothes, he's carrying a gun. He's not there to work. He's part of a team planning to rob the mine. Among them is a woman named A. Feng, who's been undercover as the mine owner's mistress. Her role is to get close to him, gain his trust, and strike when the time is right. In one chilling moment, while pretending to flirt with the boss, she pulls out her gun and shoots him dead. The group wastes no time. They grab as much gold dust as they can and rush to escape. But before they can get away, the surviving miners fight back. The robbers are outnumbered, yet their combat skills are terrifyingly sharp. Within minutes, the workers are down, and the 5-member gang disappears into the night. But in a world like this, no one truly gets away. This is no escape. The scene then shifts to Xiongfei and Qinjue, an elite couple working as special agents. They've handled countless high-risk missions together and seem unstoppable, even chasing fugitives on horseback while casually discussing their wedding plans. Xiongfei takes down a fleeing biker with a perfect shot, while Qinjue lassos another suspect with cowboy-like precision. Soon after, they receive new intel. A ruthless group of illegal gold thieves is hiding nearby. The police warn them that this crew is heavily armed and has already killed many people. So Xiongfei, Qinjue, and their teammate Haoran set out to investigate. To avoid suspicion, they pretend to be travelers stopping for rest. At first, everything seems calm. The thieves act friendly. But when Haoran excuses himself to step outside, the truth surfaces. He discovers that the miners have been tied up and gagged. Before he can react, one of the robbers catches him snooping and forces him back inside. The atmosphere turns tense. The fake smiles are gone. Realizing the cover's blown, both sides open fire. Chaos erupts. The agents scatter and hide among goat pens, waiting for a chance to strike back. The robbers hunt them through the compound, and brutal hand-to-hand combat follows. In the middle of the fight, Qinjue jumps on a motorcycle and slams into one of the thieves, knocking him out, but the crash leaves her badly hurt. Seeing her down, Xiongfei lifts her onto a horse and tries to get her to safety. But before they can flee, a bullet hits Qinjue. Xiongfei panics, desperate to help, when the bald robber suddenly ambushes him. They clash violently until Xiongfei is stabbed and collapses. Moments later, a Feng, still in disguise as an escort, arrives with a getaway car. The robbers pile in, speeding away from the bloody scene, leaving the police agents beaten and helpless in the dust. After the brutal shootout, the surviving officers are rushed to the hospital. Xiongfei loses one of his arms. Qinjue remains unconscious, and only Haoran escapes with minor injuries. The police chief later explains that both Xiongfei and Qinjue will be temporarily suspended from duty. The department can't afford to wait any longer to catch the gold thieves, so another team will take over the case. Watching over his unconscious partner, Xiongfei feels crushed. Losing his arm was painful enough, but seeing the woman he loves lying helpless in a hospital bed is even worse. 2 months later, Xiongfei, still not cleared for duty, walks back into the police station. Determined, he goes straight to the chief's office and insists that he's ready to work again. But the chief refuses. With only one arm, Xiongfei would be a liability in the field. Defeated but not broken, he steps out of the office and finds his old teammates in a meeting about the gold heist case. He hesitates for a moment, not wanting to interrupt, but his longing to be part of the team again pushes him forward. With a shy smile, he walks in and greets them. Meanwhile, the gang of thieves is still hiding in the city. One of them, the man Qinjue hit with her motorcycle, now suffers from brain damage, and he's become mentally unstable. The group begins to fall apart. Some want to abandon the mission and go home, but their leader, Li Wei, refuses to return empty-handed. Back at home, Xiongfei spends his days caring for Qinjue, who has been paralyzed since the fight. Every day he tends to her with quiet patience, talking to her as if she could still respond. She listens motionless, while he fills the silence with small stories about his day. Though he's no longer an active agent, Xiongfei hasn't given up. He trains hard, learning to fight and move with just one arm, determined to find the criminals who destroyed their lives. Slowly, Qinjue begins to show faint signs of recovery. Day by day, she fights to regain control of her body. After weeks of chasing dead ends, Xiongfei finally gets a lead. A street kid claims to have seen the people from the wanted posters he's been handing out. Without wasting a second, Xiongfei heads to the location. But when he arrives, the place is abandoned. Searching through the area, he finds a note outlining a plan to rob a wealthy couple's wedding that very same day. With no time to lose, he alerts the police and races to the venue. Sure enough, the robbers have already infiltrated the event. They pull out their guns, shouting at the terrified guests to hand over their valuables and the wedding dowry. But among the crowd is Xiongfei himself, blending in. As one of the thieves aims his gun at a guest, Xiongfei grabs a fork from the table and uses it to pin the man down. Xiongfei manages to capture one of the thieves and demands that Li Wei surrender, but Li Wei doesn't flinch. Instead, he grabs the bride, threatening to shoot her if Xiongfei doesn't drop his weapon. The momentary hesitation gives another robber the chance to strike. They smash a bottle over Xiongfei's head, then beat him with a chair until he collapses to the ground. Moments later, police reinforcements arrive and surround the building. Realizing they're cornered, the robbers activate their backup plan. They force every wedding guest to wear masks identical to theirs, hoping to create chaos and confusion when they make their escape. Inside, Xiongfei is handcuffed, powerless to stop them. But before losing consciousness, he smears his own blood onto one of the thieves. Soon, a flood of masked guests and robbers rushes out together, creating total confusion. The police can't tell who's innocent and who's armed. Amid the panic, they manage to detain one of the marked robbers. But just as they move to cuff him, he pulls out a hidden bomb. The explosion is devastating, taking his own life and adding to the chaos. Xiongfei stumbles out of the wreckage and spots a surviving thief speeding away in a car. Injured but determined, he chases them on foot. It's a losing race. Li Wei's gang hit him with their car and shot him in the arm before disappearing down the road. Back at headquarters, the police chief is furious. He scolds Xiongfei for acting recklessly and going in without backup. If that bullet had hit his head instead of his arm, Qinjue would have lost the only person she had left. As punishment, the chief demotes Xiongfei to a desk job. Meanwhile, Li Wei sits in silence, mourning the loss of another crew member. Only 4 of them remain now. The group's morale crumbles. The others want to quit, but Li Wei refuses. He's still convinced they can pull off one last score before disappearing for good. That night, a Feng retreats to the rooftop, lost in thought. Li Wei joins her, wrapping his arms around her from behind. We learn they're more than partners in crime. They're lovers, parents to a child waiting for them back home. A Feng longs to return, her heart heavy with guilt and homesickness, but Li Wei silences her gently, asking her to be patient, to forget about the child for now, at least until they've secured a future. The next morning, the bald man brings news of an opportunity, a train leaving soon, with little police presence and filled with wealthy passengers. It's their best chance to escape and rob one last time before heading home. Li Wei hesitates, but the promise of money tempts him. Unbeknownst to the group, a Feng has already contacted the police. She reveals their plan to rob the train in exchange to see her son during the mission. She knows their luck has run out. Every plan has failed. Every heist has cost them lives. She's tired of running. Even if it means getting caught, she just wants to see her son again. For the police, this is the break they've been waiting for. After months of searching, they finally have a chance to end Li Wei's reign once and for all. Back in Xiongfei's world, life is starting to regain a fragile sense of normalcy. He's learned to live with his prosthetic arm, even managing to cook for himself again. Qinjue, still recovering, can finally move around in her wheelchair, slowly reclaiming her independence. The next day, Xiongfei is summoned to the police station. The chief explains that they're short on manpower because of a massive riot elsewhere, and they need Xiongfei's help to capture Li Wei, who's now planning to escape by train. When the day of the operation arrives, officers are already positioned inside the train under the command of Yu Hao. With them is a Feng's son, as agreed upon during her secret deal with the police. Xiongfei and his small tactical unit are also on board, waiting quietly for the right moment to move. At the same time, Li Wei and his crew are preparing for their own heist. But things take an unexpected turn when another gang of robbers appears, planning to rob the same train. Two criminal groups, one train, and a ticking clock. The second gang is led by Lan Xuan, a sharp and fearless woman who quickly realizes that Li Wei is no ordinary thief. Instead of fighting, she proposes half the train for her crew and half for Li Wei's. Reluctantly, he agrees. Better to share than die fighting. Meanwhile, Yu Hao approaches Afeng to let her see her son, but at that very moment, Li Wei shows up. Shocked and betrayed, he can hardly believe what he's seeing. Afeng tearfully apologizes, saying she only wanted to see her child one last time. Seeing no way out, Li Wei hands her a pistol, and Afeng opens fire on the nearby officers. The sound of gunfire rips through the train. Panic spreads instantly. Lan Xuan's crew, startled by the chaos, decide to move up their plan and start the robbery right then and there. Gunshots echo through the train cars. Zhongfei and his team spring into action, engaging both groups in a storm of violence. As the fight rages on, Lan Xuan herself steps in. She's a skilled martial artist, agile and deadly. Her battle with Zhongfei is intense with blow for blow, neither willing to back down. In another car, Li Wei gains the upper hand, taking a passenger hostage and threatening to execute them unless the police jump off the train. But before he can follow through, Zhongfei bursts in and opens fire, igniting a fierce gun battle. Amid the chaos, the bald thief is hit and killed. Seeing yet another comrade fall, Li Wei's rage explodes. He swears to wipe out every officer on that train. Meanwhile, after defeating Lan Xuan, Zhongfei pushes forward through the smoke-filled cars. In one of the darker compartments, he comes face-to-face with the mentally broken thief, the so-called idiot. Another gunfight breaks out, this time in near darkness. As bullets fly, a terrified female hostage bravely throws a burning piece of paper to distract the maniac. Zhongfei seizes the moment, charging in and ending the fight with one decisive shot. After taking down the deranged thief, Zhongfei suddenly hears movement behind him. He turns and finds Afeng aiming a gun straight at his back. Wounded and exhausted, he knows he has no chance to fight back. He stays still, accepting whatever comes next. But before she can pull the trigger, her young son, who's been watching in fear, bursts into tears. His cries cut through the chaos, begging his mother to stop. The sound shatters her resolve. Trembling, Afeng lowers her weapon, tears filling her eyes. Zhongfei steps forward and handcuffs her to a train seat, then moves on, determined to finish what he started. At last, he comes face to face with Li Wei. Both men are driven by rage, grief, and unfinished vengeance. They charge at each other, fists and bullets flying in a brutal, close-quarters showdown. Li Wei fights with raw power, using everything within reach, even swinging a fire extinguisher to knock Zhongfei to the ground. But Zhongfei refuses to stay down. Fueled by fury and survival, he drags himself up and attacks again. The fight turns savage, each blow heavier than the last. Then in one final strike, Zhongfei swings his prosthetic arm, a weapon secretly reinforced with cement, and delivers a crushing punch. Li Wei collapses, defeated at last. Moments later, police forces storm the train, rounding up the surviving criminals and arresting Li Wei. The long nightmare is finally over, thanks to Zhongfei's unyielding courage. In the aftermath, Zhongfei is reinstated as a special police agent. The chief acknowledges his bravery and dedication, knowing no one else could have endured what he did. After so much loss and pain, Zhongfei finally earns back not just his title, but his peace. So the moral of the story is, if you ever plan a gold heist, maybe don't mix it with romance, motorcycles, and a train full of police. Things can only go downhill from there.